أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إذ يغشيكم النعاس أمنة منه وينزل عليكم من السماء ماء ليطهركم به ويذهب عنكم رجز الشيطان وليربط على قلوبكم ويثبت به الأقدام إذ يوحي ربك إلى الملائكة أني معكم فثبتوا الذين آمنوا سألقي في قلوب الذين كفروا الرعب فاضربوا فوق الأعناق واضربوا منهم كل بنان ذلك بأنهم شاقوا الله ورسوله ومن يشاقق الله ورسوله فإن الله شديد العقاب ذلكم فذوقوه وأن للكافرين عذاب النار صدق الله العظيم. From the beginning of Surah Al-Anfal, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives many glad tidings to the mu'minun, the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, to help them and to make them firm in this jihad against the kuffar in Badr. So the Quran Kareem reveals these ayat are revealed, and with each of these there is bashara, there's glad tidings, there's hope, there's encouragement for the believers. The background to these ayat is that when the Sahaba radiallahu anhum and Kuffar Makkah, the Quraysh, now before the battle would ensue, the army of the Quraysh, they reached the place of the battle, the battlefield, they reached that first. So whoever reaches first, they set up their camp, and wherever they want to settle, they're going to pick that place first. So that place or that part of the battlefield, that area which was more conducive for battle, which was more advantageous in a military setting, that the Quraysh, they settled over there, which was slightly on an elevated place. The Quran Kareem later, the ayat will come, إِذَا أَنْتُمْ بِالْعُدْوَةِ الدُّنْيَا وَهُمْ بِالْعُدْوَةِ الْقُصْوَى وَالرَّكْبُ أَسْفَلَ مِنْكُمْ. So they took the more advantageous position, and the believers, the Sahaba anhum, who came later, they reached the battlefield later, they were left with the less advantageous place. Where they settled, Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam picked a place first. When Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam chose this area, one Sahabi who was a local to the area, he knew the area well, Hibban bin Munqidh radiallahu anhu, he asked Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Ya Rasulullah, this place that you've chosen, is this because of wahi that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that we have to stay here? Or is this from something that you thought would be better, and this is something which can be changed? So Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, no, there's no wahi as such, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't say that I have to stay here. I thought that this might be the second best, that we can stay over here. So Hibban bin Munqidh says, I know this area, there's another place we can actually encamp over there, there's some more water over there, there's a water source over there, that might be better for us. Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam readily agrees that this is nothing that has to do with that's stipulated that we have to stay here. So we can move over there. So they move over there. Now this is the night before the Battle of Badr. Sahaba anhum, they are outnumbered. The Quraysh, as you know, are thrice the size, 300 versus 1,000, 313 versus 1,000. They have the less advantageous position as well. So Shaitan put some wasawis and whispers into the hearts of some that were over there. That look, as it is, you're outnumbered. Now on top of that, you have lesser in number, that you have the less advantageous position as well, so on and so forth. These kinds of whispers Shaitan is putting into the hearts. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed these ayat which informed that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent a certain sukoon, a certain tranquility upon the Sahaba radiallahu anhum. إِذْ يُغَشِّيكُمُ النُّعَاسَ أَمَنَةً مِّنْهُ. Ali radiallahu anhu says that the night of Badr, now again, it may be difficult, not maybe, it is definitely difficult for you and I to put ourselves in their shoes because we've never been faced with such a situation. That the next morning you're going to face the enemy with sword in hand, or you may not even have the sword in hand, or they have they're militarily more advanced and whatnot. How will you fare that night? You have to think about it. That night, before the night of the battle, what thoughts go on in a person's mind, right? They also had families, by the way. They also had children, by the way. They also had things that they were, so to say, emotionally connected to as human beings, normal, as fitratan, as human beings would be connected to. So that night was obviously a very, very difficult night. From a very human perspective, that what they would be thinking at that time, that was very serious. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends a nu'as, a slumber from His own side. Ali radiallahu anhu says that the night of Badr, there wasn't a single one of us that was left except that he received peaceful sleep that night. This is only from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The only one that was awake was Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The only one that was awake was Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, praying tahajjud, making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And here, it's a separate issue. That the Anbiya, just as we know the Anbiya are spiritually very strong, even in heart and courage, they are the strongest of people as well. Rasulullah ﷺ, from his shama'il, from his characteristics, that he was also very strong physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, in every regard. And that's how Anbiya ﷺ were. So Rasulullah ﷺ, he wasn't moved by that. He wasn't scared in that sense. Yeah, the normal, how he was scared for his Sahaba anhum, what he felt for them, his iltija and begging Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's all it's in this place. So يُغَشِّيكُمُ النُّعَاسَ أَمَنَةً مِّنْهُ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's the first in'am and the first ni'mah, blessing, or not first, in this ayah, this is one more ni'mah. Amongst the many ni'am that have been mentioned so far, this is one more ni'mah and blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then وَيُنَزِّلُ عَلَيْكُمْ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً. As we said that the Quraysh, they took the more advantageous position where there was more water source, and so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends rain. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends rain for the Sahaba anhum. Where they were, there was soft sand as well. So some rain fell, which would make it what? Now where they're standing, their ground, that also becomes firm. So their feet won't slip. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends some rain. On the other side, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends harder rain where the kuffar were. So there it was causing mudslides because they're on top as well. So that made it difficult for them. Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends lighter rain so that the ground becomes firm. So يَنَزِّلُ عَلَيْكُمْ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً. Why? What is the hikmah behind this? لِيُطَهِّرَكُمْ بِهِ. So that you can attain both inner and outer purification. What matters to the Sahaba anhum? They need to perform the salah as well. So that they can have water for that. So that their morale can be raised as well at the same time. وَيُذْهِبَ عَنْكُمْ رِجْزَ الشَّيْطَانِ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala pushes away the filth of shaitan and his wasawis. So now these whispers also won't remain, that there are, in the human, as far as human psychology is concerned, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also makes the ahwa in certain conditions favorable for the Sahaba anhum to make it easy for them. وَلْيَرْبِطَ عَلَىٰ قُلُوبِكُمْ. So that He makes your hearts firm. وَيُثَبِّتَ بِهِ الْأَقْدَامِ. Both physically, meaning literally, and in a figurative sense. تَثْبِيتُ الْأَقْدَامِ means to make your feet firm. So even physically, that's what happened. When the light rain was sent, so now the ground becomes firm. And in a figurative sense as well, so the Sahaba can have istiqamah and steadfastness at the time. Another ni'mah, إِذْ يُوحِي رَبُّكَ إِلَى الْمَلَائِكَةِ أَنِّي مَعَكُمْ. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends to the malaika alayhi salatu wasalam, He revealed to the angels that they should say to the Sahaba, أَنِّي مَعَكُمْ, that I am with you. فَثَبِّتُوا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. And the angels, the angelic effect would be that would cause their hearts to be settled as well. And the opposite, سَأُلْقِي فِي قُلُوبِ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا الرُّعْبَ. And I will cast a certain terror and awe, a fear into the hearts of the kuffar. And what else were the malaika told? فَضْرِبُوا فَوْقَ الْأَعْنَاقِ. As Sahaba say, that the mark of those kuffar who are killed by the angels on the battlefield would be that we can see that their heads would be cut from above the necks. فوق الأعناق. وَاضْرِبُوا مِنْهُمْ كُلَّ بَنَانٍ, and their fingertips would be chopped. So we could see those kuffar whose fingers were cut off, their heads were cut above the necks. This we can tell that this person was killed by the angels. فَاضْرِبُوا فَوْقَ الْأَعْنَاقِ وَاضْرِبُوا مِنْهُمْ كُلَّ بَنَانٍ. This also shows immense strength and accuracy. And in the battlefield, to chop someone's fingertips, that's almost impossible. ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّهُمْ شَاقُّوا اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ. Why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala favor the Sahaba radiallahu anhum in this manner? And why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make the disbelievers base in this manner? ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّهُمْ شَاقُّوا اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ. Because they rebelled against Allah and His Rasul. The kuffar, they rebelled against Allah and His Rasul. And the opposite, the believers did not. Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they did not rebel against. وَمَنْ يُشَاقِقِ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ شَدِيدُ الْعِقَابِ. This is the rule of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That whoever rebels against Allah and His Rasul, then know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is severe in His punishment. ذَلِكُمْ فَذُوقُوهُ. It doesn't end over here. In this dunya, this was one form of adab for them. The Quran Kareem says, فَذُوقُوهُ. Taste this minor adab. وَأَنَّ لِلْكَافِرِينَ عَذَابَ النَّارِ. What awaits in the akhirah, that's the real adab. This was just a small one. This is a small taste in this world that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that the kuffar will give it. وَأَنَّ لِلْكَافِرِينَ عَذَابَ النَّارِ. Those who reject Allah and His Rasul, those that willfully rebel against Allah and His Rasul, then for them is عَذَابَ النَّارِ. We make dua that Allah ta'ala gives us to understand the Quran.